In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bullets peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath, the Scaleless, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Aubrey, your humble host of Revenant Gaming, and welcome to a game called Dark Souls Remastered! One of my favorite games from way back in the day. Yes, I am doing this audio post. For some reason, I think I was sitting farther away from the mic than I realized, because the audio for this video was really shit. So in there you can see, one of the bosses that we would be facing later on. If we just run on through here. A couple of nice little tidbits. A couple little control hints, you could say, or control messages to tell you how to operate your character and stuff. Right in the courtyard, we're going to light that bonfire right there and have a little sit. Sitting at a bonfire lets you save, or do you just have to rest? I think if you just light a bonfire, it will save it as a checkpoint, so you'll respawn there when you die. So opening these gigantic doors, we come upon our first boss. There he is. Big fat boy. We're going to leave the Asylum Demon alone, roll through this gate, because we have no weapons other than a shitty sword that's snapped in half. So we're going to go down here, light this bonfire, and go from there. So again, pretty sure I didn't realize that I couldn't, or didn't have to rest at the moment. You can just light them and you'll be fine. So if you go to this corpse, it will always have your character's starting shield. For the Wanderer, it would be a leather shield. And then I think I ended up backstabbing this guy. Yep. If you attack that undead at all, he will not go up and to the left. He will instead try and murder you. I decided to show off the efficacy of the weapon. 2 damage a hit. Lovely damage. I'll go back in here and equip our class weapon off of that corpse. Much better damage. 64 compared to 2. So our class starts with a scimitar and a wanderer's, or a leather shield. We are considered we're considered a wanderer. So we have decent dexterity stats. Sorry if you can get tapping in the background. My dog is down here because she wants food. She's not getting any food. So if you go up here, you can actually trigger a boulder trap. That boulder will roll down and open up that secret door where we can find... Oh, nope, I decided to go down and get the shortcut first. Very smart idea. Always get that shortcut before you come back here. And then we go up. I decided to fight the undead to show that you have to get a key to enter this area, I think. Right? Yeah, you have to get a key off the guy in that room there. So I think this was just me wandering around trying to figure out what I was wanting to talk about. But there he is. You can see him in there. You can kind of see him. Come on, me. You can do better than that. Oh, get your ass in there. Get in there. Alright, finally we decided to go in and talk to him. So this is the guy from the thing.
You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family, "Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know." Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and this.
And then he gives us the key for that door.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now. And thank you.
You can decide to say no and just kill him as that ghost did and pick up the items off his corpse, but if you let him do all his thing, he just goes then and unfortunately commits suicide. He decides that he can't live any longer, his wounds are too grave. He decides to end his own suffering. So, using the key he gave us, we can go through this door, leading up towards a few other little hints about two-handing your weapon, resting at bonfires will revive enemies, so on and so forth. I believe I got my ass... Yeah, I got my ass fucking handed to me here, didn't I? Oh, it's so painful to rewatch this. There we go. I managed to kill these two guys. No problem at all. well, a little bit of a problem. You can actually hear the Asylum Demon downstairs raging his ass off because he can't get to us. Kill that little archer hollow, and then in here we have our first hollow soldier. Now these hollow soldiers are are really good because they drop their shields, and their shields are the first 100% physical reduction that you can have extremely early on. If you farm them, they are technically the earliest. I think the knight gets a heater shield, which is also 100% physical reduction. But come through here, you want to automatically jump down and use your ability to jumping attack or falling attack, do a little bit of extra damage to the Asylum Demon, and then just kind of be, prepared to dodge his attacks. I'm pretty sure I fucked up a lot on this fight. I think, yeah, this is familiar. Yep. And before this, I was talking about, he's the easiest boss in the game. He's so easy, as he proceeds to beat the living shit out of mates. Beautiful. Beautifully done by the Asylum Demon. But, oh, nope, still didn't go in. I think he doesn't kill us. He does that attack, which I expertly dodge. Get a drink, and then of course take him out with a few good swings of our little scimitar. Quite a useless weapon. Actually, I say it's useless. It's not terrible, but it's also not great. Killing him gives us the big Pilgrim's Key, a humanity and no souls. Oh, no, 2,000 souls, sorry. It took a minute. So we use the big Pilgrim's Key on this door, and then, as I learned the hard way, being online is the only way you can actually access Snuggly, who is to... Oh, no, not going for Snuggly just yet. Going for the item behind this wall, because it says, good job, go straight ahead, but don't listen to it. There's two things here. There's that soul, and then, over there, the thing that I passed on that little crow's nest, which I'll come back to in a later episode, is Snuggly the Crow. Snuggly the Crow can give you items for items.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen to leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the Ancient Lords Lordran.
And of course that giant bird, who is oh so friendly, brings us in here. You can see a corpse above our character's head way up top there. But this is our first intro to Lordran, the land of the Ancient Lords, and the Firelink Shrine, the main hub of the game. This is where you will be doing a lot of story stuff, mainly where all the merchants go in the end. And is probably the first place you'll get a 10 Estus bonfire. Going over here, you can find a few pieces of loot. There's a chest and a statue that I believe people like Vati Vidya covered heavily in some of their lower videos. You can come around here and get a Soul of a Lost Undead. Not too shabby at all. Going up the stairs, you can find yourself a nice little item as well. I believe it's another Soul of Lost Undead. Yes, another Soul of Lost Undead. Those are about 200 souls. So nothing too great, failing at jumping. Nothing too fantastic, but if you come over here to this fellow, who we were going to pass for just a moment, you saw him there. He is actually a merchant for a covenant, the Way of the White, and he sells a few basic miracles and a few little talismans to cast said miracles. Just come over and talk to him. Nope. Wait. Yeah, there we go.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thurland. If not, I prefer...
Who says if you don't have any business, stay away.
But it no.
Gives us a copper coin.
That's good.
Wants to know if he wants to, if we want to learn miracles, and asks us to join a covenant. This will be your first covenant in the game, probably.
Now only...
if you're a newbie. So you can learn a gesture called Shrug off him. There's an achievement for getting all of the gestures in the game, so he sells a few things: Greater Heal Excerpt, Seek Guidance, etc., etc. A few basic little miracles that don't really require much intelligence, or much faith, I should say, pardon me. It's not called intelligence, it's called faith. And then, trolls. Treasure ahead, huh? Yeah, says the Bloodstain. No. No treasure ahead. Lies. Lies and deceit ahead. You can actually manage to jump onto this and then take a little shortcut around, which will lead you to some chests in these wonderful little chests. There are no mimics here. You can find four cracked red eye orbs. I want to say a Morning Star and a Talisman. Yep. A Homeward Bone. Yeah, 6 Homeward Bones. And then some Light Talismans. And of course, you can tell what a mimic is by the fact that the chain is not curled. It's kind of loosely pointing outwards. And the fact that they kind of breathe. You can actually see that very, very faintly. These skeletons we're going to avoid like the plague for this episode, because these skeletons are really damn resilient towards any kind of slashing damage. They're really, really weak towards blunt damage. In fact, blunt damage is the only type of damage, or just heavy damage, you can use that Morning Star against them, is the only type of damage that will knock them apart. Going over here, we can find 6 fire bombs, and then going back over this way to the well. This is where a couple of NPCs will be. Nope. Nope. Yep. Going towards the well. Yeah. You can find 3 humanity. This fellow over here is another NPC who we will deal with a little bit later. And then if we come down here, we can find a little message about a ring and a sad little woman who unfortunately cannot speak because she has no tongue. Apparently her tongue, according to the NPC upstairs, who will tell you about it, had her tongue forcibly severed from her mouth. Kind of fucked up. Going down this staircase, you can enter onto an elevator, which will take you down into the New Londo Ruins. Of course, New Londo Ruins is a place you will go later in the game. It has a bigger part in the story later in the game, I should say. Look at that place. What a pretty zone. Pretty zone, but also eerie and full of dangers. This corpse has on it a soul of a nameless soldier. Much better than even a large soul of a lost undead. I believe it's about 1,000 souls on the soul of a nameless soldier. If you run over this way, you can ignore all these guys. These guys are completely non-hostile until you attack them. You can grab up an S-Stock, and then if you run down this way, it's examining the S-Stock. Slightly worse, but it does have a varied playstyle compared to the Scimitar. You have thrusts and slashes, which can be better against some enemies. So, poking this vase open, you can find a corpse that has 2 transient curses, which will be good if you cross that bridge there. Transient curses are one of the only ways to deal with ghosts, or being cursed, which we'll get into in a later episode. Coming over this way, there is a, well, I should say up these stairs. You can enter a door. Now, you can only enter this door if you have a master key or if you are a thief class, which gets it for free. Over that way is an entrance to Blighttown, which is an easier entrance than the one that you normally have to take. And over that way, that I pointed out, was a few good items, a nice sword and a shield, and I think a couple of humanity. This guy is full-on fucking Burt Reynolds. Look at him. He's wearing some clothing, so it doesn't really count, but, you know. Oh, what a majestic man. And of course, I think, now that I know about it, I think that's a reference to Burt Reynolds from the Cosmopolitan magazine, where he was nude on a tiger skin rug with only his arm covering his manhood.
Well, this is unusual. You haven't lost your head.
And this fella right here, this fine man, is Rickert of Vinheim.
Well,
Rickert of Vinheim.
Rickert of Vinheim.
Confuse the first 2 letters.
Established Smith. Look at me now.
This...
Can you believe?
Yeah... I think I said something along the lines of in the original recording. I've just got picked up by a giant bird. I can believe anything right now. So this fine fellow right here, he will
Don't worry.
give you...
No intention of escape. It's safe here. Although, I must admit, not much to
Should we just skip over the dialogue a little bit?
How about this?
There it is.
I could forge your weapons. I'll show you what.
So he is one of the first weaponsmiths you can find unless you go into the graveyard and into the catacombs, where you could find the undead smith, who is all about fire and chaos. This guy is all about magic and crystal and It's magic, crystal, and another one that I can't remember the name of. He sells a sorcerer's catalyst and heavy and regular soul arrow. Basic little spells. Again, doesn't take much intelligence, 10 and 12 respectively. He can reinforce your armor and weapons, he can repair your gear, and like I said, when you give him certain embers, he can modify your weapons to be either magical or crystal. Moving on from Rickert of Vindheim, however, we go back up the elevator to the Firelink Shrine again, because we aren't done in the Firelink Shrine just yet. Like, holy hell, there's a lot of stuff to cover here. Yes, there is. The Firelink Shrine is a big, big place, and it only gets bigger as the story progresses, but we're almost done. There's one more NPC to talk to, and that would be the guy that we saw on the entrance. The crestfallen soldier. Of course, we walk back up here past the poor maiden who has no tongue, I should say. And of course, ring ahead here, mentioning a NPC later on who you can actually kill by kicking him off the edge. Kind of funny. This poor fellow.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead? Ah, your face. You're practically hollow. But who knows? Going hollow could solve quite a bit. What? Restoring your humanity? Well, there are a few ways to go about it. Collected bit by bit from corpses. Or you can butter up a cleric and get yourself summoned. And the quickest way, although I'd never do it, is to kill a healthy undead and pillage its humanity. Coveting thy neighbor is only human, after all.
Very, very morbid comment.
What are you looking at? Don't try anything. Oh, that's all we need. Another inquisitive soul. Well, listen carefully. One of the bells is up above in the undead church, but the lift is broken. You'll have to climb the stairs up the ruins and access the undead burg through the waterway. The other bell is back down below the undead burg, within the plague-infested Blight Town. But I'd die again before I step foot in that cesspool.
So basically what he says about you being practically hollow involves humanities. You can use humanities to reverse your hollowing, and being human, or restoring your humanity as it is the only way you can actually see other people's summon signs. Summoning other people or NPCs through summon signs is a good way to get items, progress NPC storylines, help people get souls, and help people restore their own humanity. As the Crestfallen Knight mentioned. Upping our strength to 13 at that bonfire so we can equip a weapon later on. Unfortunately, we realize that are kind of a bit heavy. Dropping the shield and our hood, not our gloves, allows us to light roll. And of course, light rolling is a bit of a thing for this character. She is going to be a dexterity build. Killing off a few of these little fellows here. Not too much of a problem. Just be aware of the guy up above with the rather annoying firebombs. It does. Unfortunately, the Hollow did not drop his shield, but we did get a soul of Lost Undead over on that bridge, or that aqueduct piece that you can jump over to, or just fall down onto. Is a Ring of Sacrifice. which basically, when you wear it, you will lose nothing upon death. Quite a handy item. You can only get a few of them in the game. I think you can buy a couple off of the merchant, but not... They're not a very infinite supply. They're very finite, one could say. Another soul of a lost undead entering the aqueduct. As the Crestfallen Knight suggested, to get to the undead bird, killing off that dude. Going in here, we can find a little rat who's guarding a corpse. You kill said rat with pretty easy effort. And grab the soul of the lost undead, and then running back through towards the undead bird, you can take a door on the left. The door in front of you will be locked from the other side, unfortunately. You will have to access that through the lower undead bird at some point. Poking these couple of fellows with our stabby stick. We can roll through these barrels, which will be a little shortcut. Jumping down, we can grab the soul of a large soul of lost undead. Apologies. And a regular soul of a lost undead. So the only difference being one is 200. The bigger ones are usually double the amount of the normal ones. So a regular soul of a lost undead is 200. A large soul would be 400. Soul of a Nameless Soldier, I think, is 800. So large soul of a Nameless Soldier, 1600. So on and so forth. This fellow's coming up to attack us. These guys come up, but they're just one little pathetic two-handed auto attack away from being dead. Or two-handed light attack, I should say. Coming over here, you will get the chance to knock these two guys off before the other two guys jump up. You can kill them both again pretty easily, and you have what seems to be a useless item, a piece of rubbish. Sounds absolutely worthless. And the game tricks you into believing that it is worthless, but if you give it to Snuggly the Crow will give you something for said rubbish, because rubbish keeps the little bird warm. On that corpse you can find a nice humanity. And then jumping back down, we have completed that little shortcut. Ooh, frame rate. Just kill off this guy so he doesn't stab you in the back when you go to open this door or walk through this fog. And there we go. That is that portion of the undead bird completed. Now, unfortunately, I did miss that corpse there. I don't know why the frame rate is going all to shit. Hopefully that's just on my end, not yours. So that dragon comes down, steps, knocks you around a little bit, and then just pisses off. He has no interest in us. Oh, excuse me. These little dudes are hollow soldiers. These guys up here with the bigger helmets are hollow knights. My apologies entirely. And then you can come in here for a nice wooden shield. It's a little bit better than our leather shield. Decide to leave it alone, though. Unfortunately, our scimitar is better than our S-stock, but it's not that big of a deal. So this guy has a chance to drop a crossbow and his hollow soldier set. One piece at a time, obviously. Lighting this bonfire and sitting at it will, of course, reset all of the enemies, but apparently I realized that if you light a bonfire, you don't have to rest at it. So if we go ahead and just kill off these two fine gentlemen here, that guy dropped something. He dropped a hollow soldier helmet. Not bad at all. And I fucked up again, I apologize. These guys are hollow soldiers, the other guys are hollow warriors. Oh, what fun it is to be brain dead. So coming down here through these barrels, you gotta roll. You can kill this fellow right here, who won't be too much of a problem. And then run over here and meet this nice little merchant. Hello.
Well, now, you seem to have your wits about you. Hmm? I trade.
Just as he trades for souls, if you talk to him, however...
These parts, a horrible goat demon has moved in below. And up above, there's that humongous drake and a bull demon too. If you stick around this place, it might end up being your grave.
Creepy merchant is creepy.
Yeah, I'm not... We talk...
He mentions the bull demon up above and the drake up above, and the Taurus demon is basically the second boss you'll fight. He sells a residence key, I should say. He doesn't drop one. He also sells a couple of other things, including the orange sign or orange guidance substone. Not orange sign substone. The orange guidance substone is good for leaving messages for other people. Some helpful, some trolling. The dried finger is another item that I swear used to be in the game normally. However, it's been added in as a bit of an interesting item. We pop some souls, just so that we can afford a couple of his other more intriguing items. I think, namely, the dried finger. But we decided to leave it alone for now. We're going to go spend those souls to level up our weapon a little bit. Or to level up our stats, I should say. The dried finger in question is an item that allows you to summon 3 allied phantoms and also get invaded by 2 hostile phantoms. Because how it works normally is you can summon 2 good ones and get invaded by 1 evil one, upping our strength to 14 and our endurance to 12. Hopefully we can wield the shield. Yes, success! You can now use a shield and light roll. Unfortunately, we realized pretty damn quickly that one-handed S-stocking is kind of crap, so we swapped back immediately to the two-handed. I decided to leave that corpse for now over there. You can see it on the bridge. We have to go down towards the merchant to get that, but unfortunately, we decided to let it pass for now. We decided to go over to these fine fellows and take care of them one by one. Stabby, stabby. That fellow will knock open the door. Another hollow soldier. He's pretty easy, just take him out with a couple of hits from our S-stock. And then we go through, kill this fella. I realized I've been talking in a semi-British accent this entire time. It's probably really annoying. So if we go along, we will kill that fellow in there, because he will come up behind you if you're here. Open this chest for a couple... 5. Not a couple at all. 5 black fire bombs, good for throwing a pack of enemies, or maybe just one big enemy from a distance. Drawing these 2 fellas out, the one guy in the back will throw a firebomb, and they actually end up almost killing me. Not very good with the S-stock, but that's quite alright. And then this fine fellow through. And then this fine fellow through. All in all, not a bad go. I'm about halfway through the upper undead burg now. Missing that one corpse off in the distance that I mentioned earlier. You can come up here, kill these 3 guys who are throwing firebombs at the smaller bridge. Rude bedfellows. Rude, I say. Off the bridge with you. You can pick up a soul of lost undead, and I believe they drop firebombs. Yes. Yes, they do. Yes, they throw them. Made no sense. Examine our shield and what it does, because I was like, you know, I think fire actually ignites these. I can examine that one, noting that it says landing critical hits is a bit easier with your leather shield. Don't really think I bite into that, though. Swapping over to our scimitar for a little bit more damage. Go with the traditional Wanderer set. We open that door with the Residence Key we bought off of the Undead Merchant. And then we can come over here, open this chest, and pick up 3 gold pine resin. Gold pine resin imbue your weapon with lightning damage for a limited time, and is actually quite useful compared to making your weapon a lightning weapon itself. These fine fellows here are somewhat tricky, but we do get a hollow soldier shield, which I go ahead and point out in the video. No, I didn't show the stats, apparently. There we go. As you can see, it has 100% physical damage reduction and good fire and lightning resist with 65 and 50 and good stability at about 56. That man right there, however, is the man that will fuck our shit up. So I equip our gold pine resin, our black fire bombs, our regular fire bombs, and I think our homeward bones? Nope, just our fire bombs. Learning how to parry these guys is paramount for later on in the game. These are Black Knights. Black Knights are the ones who went off with Lord Gwyn from the very beginning of the game to fight demons, which is why their armor is permanently charred. We parry him to death, unfortunately, for him. And of course, these Black Knights have a chance to drop their weapons and their shields. Their shields are exceptionally good against fire resistance. Their shields are exceptionally good against fire damage because of the obvious charring from fighting other demons, which is what they were intended to do. And it would seem that the dog is back. As we continue to parry this fine gentleman to death, It's interesting to note that these guys all have very, very predictable attack patterns. Once you get the hang of parrying in the game, it's actually not that hard to parry them. Any of them. And there we go, we killed him. Sadly didn't get his shield or his sword, just got a nice Titanite chunk, which is a guaranteed drop rate, and a blue tier stone ring, which is a ring that will give you a defense bonus when your HP is below, I believe, 25%. Looking over there, questioning how the fuck that person got that summon sign down, you can actually trigger this guy to drop the barrel, and then run back and get out of the way of the barrel. He will then chase you down and try to attack you, but we are a bit quicker than that. Just a bit. Running up the stairs, that door that you saw in the entrance is another master key door, or you have to get to it at a later date. Opening that crate is a little crystal lizard who you can kill for a couple of twinkling titanite and a titanite chunk. Crystal lizards are a non-hostile enemy who will immediately run away from you the first chance they get and will try and phase out of the world, so you should try and kill them as quickly as possible. Because they give some really good armor, some really good crafting materials for higher end gear, and twinkling titanite is good for magical gear. Or gear of a unique rarity. Pop another soul of a nameless, or soul of a lost undead, I should say. We now have 3,343 souls. We're going to go back to the Undead Merchant. And that pretty much clears up everything before the boss, except for the other item, which I believe we're about to go get. So we just go back over here to the Merchant. Check and see if that guy is going to come and attack. Nope.
Oh, there you are. Still keeping your marbles all together? Then go ahead. Don't be a nitwit. Never hurts to splurge when...
Going by the undead finger off of him, or the dried finger, and one of the, I believe the bottomless box, you can see he has a reinforced club, which has a lot less durability by 150 than the regular club, but instead of the weaker scaling and reduced durability, it also gives you bleed. It is technically the first bleed physical weapon you can get compared to the weapon you can get off the merchant at a certain unfortunate accident has occurred. Going down the staircase past this guy, you can find 4 undead hollows. Easy to kill and dispatch. Or should I say should be easy to dispatch. Unfortunately, our weapon is not good enough to one-shot them in a single hand, so they just take a little bit. I decide to say screw it. I go with the S-Stock, I two-hand the S-Stock, and I just go in and stab them. Of course, the S-Stock is a weaker weapon than the Scimitar, but it does have a couple of advantages. It has a longer reach, and you can poke from behind a shield. At the cost of a lot of stamina, but at the same time, you're still blocking. Climbing the ladder, we can find a corpse way up above with some throwing knives on it. And then if you make a running jump by holding down sprint and then clicking sprint at the last second, you can come over here into this little area and find another corpse up top over this way with a light crossbow and 16 standard basic crossbow bolts. Face palming at the fact that someone made a try stabbing in the back joke about a guy who's bent over. Try here. Nah. The try here message turned out to be beneficial because you can do a plunging attack on one of the undead warriors. Hollow warriors, say. Killing him off in a very basic fashion. You manage to get hit by firebomb and then immediately get hit in the back by this guy. Narrowly dodging out of the way of a well-placed attack, we decide to dispatch him so he's not that much of a pain in the ass. And as you can see, at our low health, we have an aura from the blue tier stone ring, which is buffing our defense. There is a red tier stone ring further on in the game, or through a couple of shortcuts like the one I mentioned earlier in the game. You can actually find the red tier stone ring, which increases your attack at lower health. The corpse that I missed, of course, had a nice basic soul on it, and I believe it's about the point where I did a little bit of a montage. Now we come back to the merchant with 3,000 souls, ready to buy his wonderful repair box, which allows us to repair our weapons without the need of a blacksmith. And then, after surveying the rest of his items, it's time for that unfortunate accident. Looking over my items, realizing I have everything like the dried finger, and the repair box, the bottomless box, and the residence key, and the Origin Site soapstone, I think it's time we say farewell to our friend. The reason I'm killing this man right here is because of the weapon he holds in his hand. Of course, he cries out for Yulia, which I'm assuming, or a lot of people assume, is either the humanity he carries on him, or the sword itself.
Yulia.
A tragic character, but looting his corpse will give you one of the best dexterity weapons to start out with. An Uchigatana. A B in dexterity scaling, so perfect for dexterity builds. It also has a bit of bleed damage, about the same amount as the reinforced club, with 300. As you can see here, 300. Unfortunately, the scimitar is a slight bit better, with an E in strength and a B in dexterity. The Uchigatana is purely a dexterity build, and it comes with 14 and 14 stat requirement for strength and dexterity. Unfortunately, the weapon is bloody heavy, which is to be expected. The blade itself is about 5 pounds compared to our scimitars, I want to say 2.5 or 1.5, so it's quite a bit heavier than our other weapon, but a little bit of endurance won't matter that much. I can pretty much two-shot these guys, which is fantastic. I could probably two-shot them with the scimitar just as well. Cut him down, and I'm just going to skip to when we get back up to place with the second boss that we'll be facing in this Let's Play. So if we go through this door, we can traverse the white lights, and then, of course, you immediately want to turn around, go up the little ladder to your right. See the undead sitting there. I kind of had a good old laugh at them, trying to get through the white light to get us, but unfortunately they can't. These two fellows up here will be crossbowmen who will fight you during the boss fight. So if you kill them now, you will get them out of the way. And that one, of course, dropped his hollow soldier waistcloth, kind of a mediocre plate armor. The only really good thing off the hollow soldiers is, of course, their shield. Running over here, you definitely want to ignite your weapon with some gold pine resin, just for lols. And for newbies, it does help you quite a bit. Meet the Taurus Demon. You want to immediately hightail it back to the ladder so that you can prepare for his inevitable demise. Or yours, if you're unlucky like me. So, finding the Taurus Demon, we come over here and do a plunging attack right into his cranium. Equipping our black fire bombs for obvious reasons, I now have learned that you can actually run through his legs if you're very lucky. He does have quite a few attacks that track your character's position, so be careful of that. And he hits like a blood truck. Dodging that throw, or that swing, we managed to heal up. Of course, get hit by one of his stupid attacks. And then, because we can't dodge out of the way in time, die. Now, let's try that again, shall we? The crates over here hide a corpse with a little bit of a soul on it. I believe it's a large soul of lost undead. And then coming down this way, you do not want to cross the bridge right away to your left. You want to instead come down here and talk to this gentleman. Unfortunately, we will be doing that in the next episode. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to hang out with me for a little bit. Or should I say post-recording of audio. But I wanted to give it a test, and B, it was a perfect time because the audio was kind of crap. So as we stay here in front of this majestic J.J. Abrams sunlight, dear God, that's so bright, and ponder who this mysterious man is, I'd like to say thank you all for watching. If you like what you saw, leave a like and a comment, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, and I have been your humble hostess, Aubrey, from Evernoth Gaming, and I hope to see you all in the next episode.